think that the biggest mistake you can make would be not to call Appster as early as possible and to discuss everything. For us, Appster not only showed dedication, devotion, agility, intelligence, and a willingness to take a risk and support a young company, but also the best part of the whole relationship with Appster was the execution.
Yeah.
When something was agreed, it was delivered. It was delivered on time, on budget. It was delivered many times exceeding our expectations. The entire relationship with Appster was, to date, the single most positive relationship that we've had with another organisation for Bluedot, and that goes without question.
No, that means a lot to us. I think the funny thing is sometimes we'll have a client come to us when they are in that idea phase. You know, they've just had their little idea, and you know, we work with a lot of different clients and some really large corporates as well. And yes, you know, we do some really large projects too. And sometimes they think, oh, you know, I've only got this little idea. Do you guys even have time for me? But I think that's the biggest thing for us. We've always had time for, you know, the little guy, because we're excited about the potential of what they can become. And you know, for me, you're absolutely the perfect story, because that's what you were. You know, you were just this guy with an idea. You know, you were a waiter in Adelaide, a guy with an idea, and now to see where you've taken it now, and obviously the smarts that you've had as well to be able to pull it off. But you know, I just think it's amazing what you've been able to do.
No, well, thank you very much, and by all means, I would never be able to say that this is a success that we've built on by ourselves or alone. You never live in a vacuum. You always work with other people and other companies, and one of the best things that we did as a company was picking wisely on who to work with, and I think the wisest choice was Appster.
Thank you. So I'm here with Filip from Bluedot. He's one of our clients that's done really well, and we wanted to put together a quick case study to maybe walk you guys through the process of what it's like to work with Appster. Filip, how are you going?
Yeah, very good. Yourself?
I'm going okay. I'm going okay. So tell me a little bit about how it all got started. You know, I remember first hearing your idea and going to see you in Adelaide. But how did it all get started for you?
Pretty simple. I was working as a waiter, actually studying, and I was sitting on the lawns of my uni one day, and I had a really cool idea. I said, why do we have to pay for tolls using e-tags and the standard accounts? Why can't I use my phone to do it? So that was a pretty simple idea, when we immediately realized we're going to have to start doing some quick rapid prototyping and start building a solution. At that point, we obviously contacted you guys and started addressing the challenge of building a prototype that would enable us to trigger payments from a very, very precise location and run an app all day in the background that wouldn't drain your battery. And it was great. That was, I guess, the beginning and the start of a good relationship.
What was your experience like first getting in touch with us?
Well, to be honest, it was a little bit of a shock and amazement. We spoke to several application development companies, and generally they were your standard responses. However, when we engaged Appster, the response itself was amazing. The level of dedication and interest shown in the project even before it started, just interest in the general idea, and I guess understanding for the passion and the drive that we had when we wanted to achieve the goals that we did. Appster went out of its way, I guess, to understand our needs, to immediately communicate with us, tell us what was possible, what was impossible, and immediately start working on developing the idea before we'd even started any kind of a formal relationship. So I guess it was that immediate welcoming, warm approach, and that openness to new ideas and openness to accepting challenges and trying to challenge the status quo. That's what really interested us in working with Appster, and it really was mirrored throughout the whole relationship going on.
Yeah, I remember on Friday when I first heard the idea, and I went and knocked on Mark's office door. I was like, "Yeah, dude, I just got us tickets. We're going to go see a guy called Filip in Adelaide tomorrow," and we flew right down there. But I think that's the thing, is we've always had so much passion for you know, our clients' ideas and where they want to take them, because for us, maybe it sounds selfish to say, but we're always sort of looking for, you know, like the poster child to be able to say, hey, you know, we helped build the next Facebook or something like that, because for us, you know, obviously it makes us look better as a brand, but really for us to get to champion these ideas, because so many people's ideas never really get to see the light of day, and I feel like if we could at least, you know, help at least a few more of those get out there, you know, it's just really exciting for us. So. Walk me through, you know, some of the technical challenges that you guys maybe had during you know, what was this idea that you were putting together, and how maybe we helped you guys sort of solve that?
Well, the technical challenge was immense. We needed to create an application that could run ultra-precise location services all day long without draining the battery. It was something that was absolutely impossible according to most people's understanding. I truly believe that the expertise that Appster's engineers brought around and the actual innovation that we really found is the lifeblood of any technology company, including Appster, the actual willingness to try new things, that really made a difference. Appster's engineers started thinking with an open mind and essentially approached location services in a completely new way, and worked with us on a very intimate basis to develop an ongoing scope that changed in our case very, very rapidly. However, through this relationship and through this communication and thirst for innovation, we actually developed quite an amazing solution. And without Appster actually assisting us in that on that technical side with that technical expertise, we would have never gotten close to where we are now, and never would have been able to develop a solution so quickly that allowed us to demonstrate to other people what we're trying to do.
And I believe there were quite a few people that said that it couldn't be done, right?
Yes, yeah, we were turned away by some agencies. We were a part of a startup accelerator program in Adelaide as well, and we had one of our mentors sit down, and he was a global chief technology evangelist for Microsoft, and he looked us in the eyes and he said, "You're going to fail. So you just can't do it. This is impossible." So the fact that we actually challenged that general standard understanding of location services, and that we managed to do something better than anyone else, just really felt really good. And
it always feels good to prove someone wrong, right?
Yeah, and Appster was really just an instrumental part in that, and the quality of the engineers. So.
Oh, awesome. I think it's. I just think it's funny when you hear, and especially I think it's especially from technical people to when you tell them that you want to do this thing that's so ambitious. Obviously there's always going to be a lot of people saying, "Oh no, well it can't be done." But I think that's the basis of innovation, and I think we love to hear at Appster, we love to hear when someone says, "Oh, that's impossible, it can't be done," because I know that in terms of our recruitment process and the type of engineers that we bring on board, I know that for every maybe 10 good developers, that one brilliant developer can do the problem solving work of 10 average ones, right? Yeah. And so I feel like that's always been really important, especially with the innovative or disruptive type projects where I know we're building an invention, where there are a lot of challenges that are going to come up, where I know that we're going to have problem solvers, and I think yours is a perfect example of that being something that was just so technically complex, and maybe in some cases some people would just say that it couldn't be done, and to have our engineers pull off something like that, I was very pleased with the outcome too.
Well, that was also one thing that we realised while working with Appster, is that there is a very large distinction in technology companies, in application development companies, and they fall generally into two categories. There's companies that can do your standard stuff, and then there's companies, and there's a very select few that we've encountered so far, and Appster is one of them, that can actually do non-standard work. Yeah. It's very easy to see if someone else has done something, copy that along, maybe reformat it, and just do run-of-the-mill applications. But when you're looking for something truly special and innovative, it really comes down to the core ability of that development company, and that core ability was very much enshrined in Appster, what we were looking for in terms of innovation, in terms of willingness to take a risk, and in terms of delivering just amazing solutions that just haven't been done before.
Awesome. All right, and so after I think through the initial process, having met us, like what have the results been so far? I know it's been quite a while now since we first started the project, but what's happened?
Yeah, well, I'll try and I guess start at the beginning. When we engaged Appster, we started on an ambitious goal. What was truly amazing was that, if memory serves me, our first prototype. First sort of rough prototype was delivered in 3.5 weeks from beginning the relationship, and that was that was a truly amazing turnaround. But in the end, it is the results that matter, what's generated from the project, and what was generated in our case was, first of all, all a application. There was a test bed and initial demonstration application for our technology. With this application, we were able to not only prove out internally that our technology would work, but then also demonstrate it to key stakeholders at the very beginning, that will allow you to validate your idea, that will allow you to start generating interest for in terms of investment, in terms of market presence, and just allows you to I guess, fulfill the full agile development model of gaining validation and proving out your technology. From then on, we engaged Appster additionally to create some demonstration applications where we could actually take our technology and demonstrate it in a live scenario to various external companies, investors, etc. So this added some additional functionality, and it really allowed us to sit down with any people. It didn't matter from a large organization, small organization, of investors to consultants. It really allowed us to be confident in presenting our technology to them. What that resulted in was a very large sales pipeline going ahead with some very large organizations who were quite impressed with the quality and the reliability and the effect of the technology. And it also allowed us to demonstrate the technology to investors. And as a very young startup at the beginning, that can be core and key to your survival. Unless you have some money to get you off the ground, it's very hard to survive. What Appster's technology allowed us to do was to actually wow some investors to a point as well, and allow us to deliver an amazing solution that in the end generated not only interest but also money on the table, which was a key success. Yeah, exactly. And walk me through the amounts, like through the capital raising and how you went through that process. Yeah, so the capital raising for us, the first round was the most critical, because it's really hard on an unproven technology to get people to put some money down. But we actually demonstrated our technology and the principles behind it to a group of savvy investors. We raised $225,000 on our first round at a $4.5 million valuation, which was great for a very young company. And following that, we've also raised some additional amounts, both as an additional investment round and as a government grant. So to date, we've raised a total of just shy of $600,000 and have a $6 million valuation for the company, which has been amazing. And that came about with not only the addressable market, but also the way that we had approached our business, including creating quality demonstrations and generating IP in conjunction with Appster, which we managed to protect, and which is bringing us ongoing value as we go along. And I think that's the beautiful thing, because we're always trying to advise clients and people that come to us with these incredible ideas that, you know what, it's not always realistic for you to come out with this $500,000 build of your product. You can't always do that right away. Obviously, you don't have the capital to be able to do that. And sometimes clients will be very surprised, because we'll really try and push them all the way back to the cheapest, leanest, meanest, least investment possible version of their product, so that they can, maybe spend the initial money to get to that level of MVP, minimum viable product, and then be able to then go and do your Series A and then raise that other money so that you can expand, grow the product. Maybe you can build the full kitchen sink, and maybe start expanding, do sales, do operations, do marketing, these sorts of things too. And I think you guys are a perfect case study, because you did exactly that. It was a great journey to date, and all the milestones that we achieved, which we fought very, very hard for, these milestones were achieved substantially easier thanks to the assistance that Appster provided. If we had to go internally and try and hire a developer, a cross-platform developer, to deliver what Appster delivered for us, it would be very hard to envision a situation where we would have raised enough money, and we would have even had a product or an MVP to demonstrate out soon enough for us to raise and survive as we did. Yeah. And so I believe now some other really good news that we've heard recently is that the PayPal, one of the founding guys at PayPal, the PayPal CFO, is now jumped on board. That's crazy. Yeah, so we went to CeBIT, and we had a chance to pitch at the conference, and we got up on stage and pitched. And at the end of the conference, we were feeling a little bit unfulfilled, because nothing really came about. A few conversations. I was there, nothing really much. Just really, it was not as fruitful as we hoped for. And we actually had two successes come out of it. One is we started a conversation on the floor of CeBIT, where where we actually met our current CTO. So that was a good score. And then a couple of months later, something that we originally thought was spam. We received an email from someone who was claiming to be the founding CFO of PayPal. It turned out he'd heard about us.
He's from Nigeria too, right?
Yeah, pretty. Well, that's what we were expecting. Yeah. But what it turned out to be that he heard about us through someone who listened to us pitch at CeBIT. He garnered some of his interest, and he flew down to Sydney. Had a quick conversation with him and a coffee in Sydney, and it was a very simple process. We signed him up as a director on our company and as our CFO. So it was a great result.
And I remember when you first called me up to tell me the good news, and even I was pinching myself. I'm thinking like it's crazy to have someone of that expertise, come on board is just amazing for you guys. And recently, I remember you guys were also called a potential $1 billion startup. Yeah, was it by Jana Matthews in the Australian?
It is, and while
a lofty goal to live up to now.
Exactly. While everyone loves hearing something good about themselves, when you hear something like that, it really piles on the pressure. So we've got a lot of work to do. It does,
but I think when I look at, I even remember first sitting down with you in that bar and hearing the idea and just thinking, wow, the potential of what a product like this does have. I mean, you hear a word like billion thrown around, but I mean, really, that's the potential and the ambition of what this thing could really have, which is why someone like, a founding CFO of PayPal might see an interest in it.
Yeah, exactly. In our conversation with him, we managed to convey, I guess, the how large the market is and how large the opportunity is, and all the various use cases for our technology. And to be honest, this is also something that at the beginning when we started, we had no idea. We had a single-minded focus on what we were looking to do. And then throughout the development process, you get something that you can test, and you play around with it. You start setting geofences, and then suddenly you start scratching your head and realizing, hey, maybe there's a little bit more that we can do outside of the original idea. And you start showing your true agile nature. Because if you're not agile, you're not going to succeed, or you may succeed, but you cut yourself off from the potential success that you should be achieving.
Right. Innovate or die.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you say to the people out there that, they've got a great idea, that they're wanting to pursue it, but, they're needing to take it to an investment stage, they're needing to get capital together, and maybe they're a bit scared about the process, can it really be done? What would you say to them?
Yeah, the best thing that I could say is give it a try.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, sharing your idea, not the details of the idea, how it works, but what you're looking to do, what you're looking to deliver, and what problem you're looking to solve. That's as easy as knocking on a door with someone with some technical expertise and saying, hey, what do you think about this?
The worst they can say is no.
Exactly, and you've got nothing to lose. You generate a little bit of interest. You see that people are going, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I could actually use that. That would solve a problem for me. And if you've got that, just that simple validation, that's enough to start building a business plan and a product and everything else. The core of being agile as a company is taking it step by step, not overstepping where you should be at any given phase. And when it comes to if you actually receive enough validation, if you're looking to build a product, there's many ways that you can build an MVP that doesn't require outlaying hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can build something small enough, again, just to demonstrate to people who will actually give you the money. It's an ongoing process, and the biggest thing is just to be mindful of where you are and never be in the wrong step. Never try and do more than what you should be doing at one stage. Nothing will cut down your risk as a startup more than that. Yeah,
and I believe you'd also worked hard as well. I mean, I remember hearing how many conversations that you had been in with so many different investors, and I feel like that's a big thing with I would say our most successful clients is, they have the drive, but then they also back that up with the hard work, and they're actually, they have the determination and the grit to go out there and, have those conversations and really drive it forward. And I think, it's just so important that you don't be lenient about it, or maybe, get the sense of disbelief that you might have. If you really believe in the idea, go out, start having those conversations, get your hustle on so that you can really take it to that level. Yeah, and it's... that determination and that passion and that focus will result in two things. For one, it will make the actual job of
putting a new idea out or building a company easier because because the company hinges at the beginning solely on you and on your determination.
Yeah.
But another flow-on effect that it has, that when you show that you're putting in so much passion and effort, you find like-minded people who appreciate the passion, who appreciate the effort, and there's tons of companies and people out there who want to help you and want to assist you for no other reason, just to see you grow. And unless you're actually putting in that passion and sharing that effort, you're not going to find those like-minded people. And we were very lucky to encounter many companies, one of which was Appster, which really shared the vision with us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Philip, what would you say to anyone that's maybe out there that's maybe they've started conversations with us, but with Appster, sorry, and maybe they're a bit concerned with our capability or our execution to be able to pull off something maybe as complex as Bluedot? What would you say to them?
I think that the biggest mistake you can make would be not to call Appster as early as possible and to discuss everything. For us, Appster not only showed dedication, devotion, agility, intelligence, and a willingness to take a risk and support a young company, but also the best part of the whole relationship with Appster was the execution.
Yeah.
When something was agreed, it was delivered. It was delivered on time, on budget. It was delivered many times exceeding our expectations. The entire relationship with Appster was, to date, the single most positive relationship that we've had with another organisation for Bluedot, and that goes without question. No,
that means a lot to us. I think the funny thing is sometimes we'll have a client come to us when they are in that idea phase. They've just had their little idea, and we work with a lot of different clients and some really large corporates as well. And yes, we do some really large projects too. And sometimes they think, oh, I've only got this little idea. Do you guys even have time for me? But I think that's the biggest thing for us. We've always had time for the little guy, because we're excited about the potential of what they can become. And for me, you're absolutely the perfect story, because that's what you were. You were just this guy with an idea. You were a waiter in Adelaide, a guy with an idea, and now to see where you've taken it now, and obviously the smarts that you've had as well to be able to pull it off. But I just think it's amazing what you've been able to do, Philippe.
No, well, thank you very much. And by all means, I would never be able to say that this is a success that we've built on by ourselves or alone. You never live in a vacuum. You always work with other people and other companies. And one of the best things that we did as a company was picking wisely on who to work with. And I think the wisest choice was Appster.
Thank you. Flattery will get you everywhere. That's it, guys.